Welcome to EazyBizz Quotes section. The Quotes section is part of the Quotes and Invoices page, which is available from the menu on the left-hand side. The first tab to come up is a Quotes and Invoices summary. All the information presented is within the period nominated in this top section. These dates can be selected from the calendar selection option, or they can be navigated back and forth using these buttons here, and they move those dates based on the selected period. Once you've made the selection, simply click Submit. The quote summary information is broken down by the status of that quote, and is also a summary of the total value of those quotes. There's also some charting, and the charts here relate to the quotes value by month. The My Quotes tab will give you a listing of all the quotes in the system for the nominated date range up the top. To create a new quote, simply hit the Create New Quote button. You can search for quotes based on these search options here, such as let's search for a quote based on status of sent, and all the search results will be presented down the bottom here. Once you've finished searching and want to clear the results back to a full listing of all the quotes, simply hit the Clear Search Criteria. You can also map all the results or the full listing based on what you see here simply by clicking the Map Quotes button. The numbers related to these markers will match up with the numbers listed here. Another way to filter the list of quotes is simply to select the first letter of the client's name, such as F, which will bring up Footloose Dance Studio, and we can clear that using the Clear button there. Each row represents one quote. The Select button will allow you to open the quote and look at it in full detail. The Notes button will allow you to add communication notes specific to that particular quote. The rest of the columns are relatively self-explanatory. The powerful feature of this system is that you can convert this quote to a job or an invoice, which will be covered in other videos. You can create a copy of this quote, or you can attach documents and images to it using this button here. You can also export a summary of all these quotes to an Excel file using this button here. Let's look at a quote in a little bit more detail. The standard information you'd expect to see in relation to a quote is all here for you to select from using the drop-down lists, such as the client. You can also create a new client simply by clicking the New button. The sales rep is also available to be selected. These are all being drawn from the Contact section within the system. You can allocate the quote to an individual staff member from this selection here and nominate when you expect the quote to be attended. This information will be useful when we look at the quote scheduling function. Down here in the Details section, you can add a new detail simply by hitting the plus key. The items are broken up into two separate types. You've got the items drawn from the inventory system, which is a separate module, and there's also items that can be created within the quoting section, and we'll have a look at that a bit later. If we go to the quote scheduling section, we can have a look at some quotes that have already been put in the system and scheduled. If a quote is created and it hasn't been allocated to a staff member, it comes up in the Not Allocated section. And then all you need to do is drag and drop it to whoever it needs to attend that particular quote. This information is also accessible via the mobile app to the individual user that logs in. It will be listed in the same order as it's presented on the screen. A summary of this information is also available from the Calendar section at the very top of the page. This section will also list jobs and other events that are in the system all at the same time. The Items and Rates section allows you to nominate items to be put in the items list that we covered previously. This is separate to the Inventory section. A new item can be simply entered into the system by putting the details in the respective fields and clicking the Submit button. The Settings tab allows you to configure the system in relation to quotes and invoices. A powerful feature is the email template. This is the standard template that gets generated when you create a quote and send it out via email. However, you're able to change the details in relation to any field that is contained within these curly brackets, such as contact name, which will be replaced by the contact name specified for that quote. Same applies to the salesperson, and the login ID is the ID that you use to log in, and that email address is automatically populated the email from field. Hopefully this has been helpful. Thank you.